Hey everyone, and welcome to another figurine review. Today I'll be looking at the amazing Yamaguchi Revolver Bakugo Katsuki from My Hero Academia. Now the Revolver brand is quite a bit different to like other figurine brands like Figma or SH Figuarts or even model kit brands like Kotobukiya and Bandai and things like that. They were well known for their revolver joints that they used to have on their figures. I don't know if they still have these on them. Well, yep, they do. So these little joints here, those are sort of like the iconic revolver joints. They used to make sort of like a satisfying click when you'd move them, but they were called Revoltech because of that particular joint. But they have sort of moved away from that in recent years. But the recent designs and redesigns of characters that they've done have been really cool, and they've really excelled in faces, body proportions, accessories, and things like that, which were areas that they used to fail in, or at least they used to not be nearly as good in. And I really like the expressiveness of the Bakugo figure, so we're going to have a look at it today. So first major thing, we'll go through the aesthetics of the figure. So you can see this is how he comes straight out of the box. Nothing extra put on him. So you can see he's got a really good face sculpt. His eyes look piercing. His hair looks good and spiky. He's got these little blast effect thingies that he always has in his hair, and these are posable, and they can rotate just a little bit. And his head is on a ball joint, and his neck, if you can get a good look, his neck is on one of those revolver joints as well. It is very awkward to line it up properly. Mine came a bit awkwardly off to the side and took me a while to get it readjusted. These little bits, I don't know what you'd call them, like shoulder or neck guards, they can move slightly and get out of the way if you needed certain poses. A lot of the movement in this is quite unique for really like exaggerated anime poses and things like that. So his chest, he can go all the way up like that and all the way down like that, and he can also move side to side, and you can see it also tries to keep that X in his chest all together. And his arm can sort of move out that way, and you can get a lot of movement. You can go the full 360. You can sort of close it back up to make it look a little more seamless, and that just fell off. That's fine. Those are meant to come off of the grenade because there are alternate parts for it. His arm can rotate there. Just plug it back on. So there's a bend at the elbow here, and a rotation here. The hands can move around. The hands do have really good range of motion, but because of the gauntlet, it's very hard to get it. There are alternate forearms, and you can get a lot more out of that. That can bend. There is an alternate part to swap, like I mentioned before. These little grenade belt bits can move just a bit. He can swivel a little bit at the waist, not a lot. And his legs can go up that far, they can go out a bit, go in, can go back that far, double bend at the knee, and his feet can rotate quite a bit, but they can't move forward and back that much. Okay, so I've just set up most of his accessories here. He's got two sort of comic book boom effects. He's got a full stand and action base sort of thing, with also an adapter clip, which I haven't put in this shot. He's got two alternate forearms that you can put instead of the grenade. He's got these little explosion effects, which you can put on these arms, which I'll put later. He's got an alternate back of his hair, which doesn't have those little like fin thingies. He's got an alternate angry face here, and I believe you can swap out his eyes as with every other face he's got these big explosion parts, which I think connect onto his arms. Not too sure of that yet. And you can also take off this bit. He's got this little explosion blade sort of thing. I think you can put it under one of his hands. It's sort of like that. Here are the alternate sort of grenade pins. And that's all that comes in that little set of the accessory set. But I'm not going to line up all of these, but I will use them. So there are all these alternate eyes, so in different directions, different expressions. There's a little tool to help you swap out the eyes. Here's the pin for the grenades. Here's alternate hands. There's an adapter to put these comic book bits into the stand, and 2 other expressions for his face. So let's play around with it a bit. So first things first, I haven't really played with this at all. I thought I'd save it all for the review. So some stuff might be a bit messy, but just bear with me. I don't know if you can see that. The part of the joint has separated from the other part of the joint. And I don't know how I'm going to get at that. We'll save that for later. And there's, I think you can see that there's a little L on there, and on the other arm there should be a little R. If you can call that an R. But that's basically just to tell you which arm goes where. So real quick, I thought that the part separated, but it actually broke apart. The connection was way too tight, and it's just snapped that in half. So I'm going to try and remove it and get it all going, but yeah, that's pretty crap. Right, so quick update on the stuck part and the broken part. So I've removed it, and it was just really wedged in there. This part's completely broken, but they do give you a bunch of extra parts for probably this specific reason. Another thing, I was trying to get it out by having a wedge in between, knocked off the top of my blade. That's how freaking tight it was. So usually you can wedge it in no problem and help separate parts, but no, not in this case. As long as you're careful with the blade, you don't want to actually damage the figure. I only did it because I was fairly confident that I could get in there without issue. And now the problem is removing this bit from the fist, but like I said, there are alternate parts, so once I get it in, once I get that bit out, it should be fine. So again, I'm going to mention stuff that needed to be done to fix this. The plug for the arm here isn't very great and didn't line up correctly, so I had to shave part of it down with a hobby knife to get it to fit, and it still doesn't fit that great. I was swapping for the alternate hair piece without the little like spiky bits on the back of this bit with this one, and you can see the size of that peg to go on the ball joint, and then the size of the original head to go on the ball joint, and it's much bigger. So this doesn't fit, so I might need to customize it again, and that's pretty freaking annoying. Now that I've finally got him set up, and what a nightmare he was, but now that I've got him finally set up and everything like that, there's no denying that he does look good. His range of accessories is amazing. Alternate parts, fantastic, everything like that. Facial expression's great. I am disappointed that the face, like that face in particular, doesn't have the swappable eyes. The swappable eyes have this on the back. That's just a completely blank spot. So there's nothing that I can do about that, which is a little bit of a shame because I would have liked him looking to the side. But anyway, yeah, look, he still looks good. The back hair piece here is a freaking nightmare because of that plug issue, which I have fixed up. But again, it's for the amount that you're paying for a figure like this, it's just not on. It's just so crap, so stupid that it's designed like this. like usually I'm ready for small issues and things like that, but to have to redo entire parts of the figure just to get things to hold together is annoying. And look, like it holds the pose just fine, but the second I try to touch this, everything will start falling apart, which is just stupid. And speaking of everything falling apart, let's change the pose and see how it falls. So let's say I'd like to change the hand on this arm, and there it goes. So for this one I had to shave down that protruding peg just because it wouldn't fit. It was not lined up correctly. And even now it's debatable if it's lined up correctly. You can see his head's falling out of the hairpiece because that plug isn't the right size. He's just an absolute, then his other arm goes. It's just an absolute mess of a figure. That's alright, I'm done with this freaking hairpiece, it's stupid. Let's put in one that it might be annoying to play around with that hairpiece, but at least it works. Now I'm going to hope that these accessories fit a bit better. Ah, freaking crap. Okay, now, while I would have liked to get a better pose, that's probably as good as it's going to get. And look, the most annoying thing about this is that it's undeniably cool. Like, it really is. But just the stuff you need to put up with to get it like that, it's just annoying. And I'm just playing around to see if you can tell that it glows under UV light, which it does, but it doesn't look like it shows on camera that well. But yeah, this is just this is not worth it. Now I'm gonna try something really stupid and put him on rotation. I really hope he stays like that. So like the body's capable of some amazing stuff, but it's so bad. It's just so bad. It frustrates me to no end. Which is such a shame because, like I said before, he's like is undeniably cool. The effect parts are incredible. The colors are fantastic. It's probably the most expressive Bakugo figure I've ever seen. He looks like he's straight from the show. It's just like even the joints don't bother me in the aesthetics of the figure. It's just how those joints work. It's just a nightmare. Like it bothers me so much. Like he looks so cool, but he's just so not worth the effort. And it's such a shame too. Like I'll get him into a very solid pose. I'm going to try some more poses, even though he is a nightmare to pose. I'll try a few more poses, see what I can get done with him, and hopefully when I swap back to the grenade arms, he'll be more solid, because they seem to hold pretty well. But I needed these arms just so I could put that explosive effect on properly. Alright, let's try some more. So I've just set them up again, and I am happy to report that the grenade arms are much more secure than his other arms. Unfortunately, they still can't hold up that much weight. They don't fall off, thankfully, but they definitely weigh down the arm. So when I tried to put on explosive effects to go with this arm set, it just didn't really fit correctly. I'm going to see if I can put a minor effect on it, but like I'm not really holding out too much hope for it, which is a bit of a shame. But at least you can get him in that pretty classic ready pose for the final explosion. But yeah, once you've got the grenade arms on, he is a much better figure. But it's just a shame all the stuff you have to go through to make him look passable, which is a shame. Now I've finally got him in another pose that I'm happy with. He can hold this one just fine. He looks really good. Changing the eyes was pretty easy and really changes that expression. Yeah, it's just that one I'm actually very, very happy about. I'm just going to see if I can get the angle a tiny bit better. But yeah, like I said, a lot of things feel too loose or too tight. Thankfully, simple poses like this work wonders with the Revoltech style. This is my first Amazing Yamaguchi style Revoltech ever actually. I used to get the old Revoltechs, but this is my first Amazing Yamaguchi one, and I'm not too sold on it. Like, the aesthetics are freaking amazing, but just the work that I had to put into this one, like, I'm sure they don't all require this sort of work to be done on them, but like, you only need one bad experience to sour you on the whole thing. So yeah, I don't know about the rest. But thankfully this one looks good, and I'll try one more pose before I wrap this up. So I'm not going to cut that. Yeah, I tried hard to make a good pose just then, and it failed miserably because he cannot support that weight, even though it's not a lot of weight, and even his base can't support that weight, which is just freaking stupid. Oh my goodness. He's absolutely horrible. Let's just put him like that and see what happens. Yeah, so I was trying to get him to do like a cool flying through the air pose, but his joints are way, way, way too loose to let that happen. So I will try another pose after this. Yeah, that was just sad. So yeah, that's unfortunate. And now I've finally put him in a pose that I'm fairly happy with. He still doesn't hold it all that great, but this is like some of its parts are sort of blocking the other parts, so he won't fall any further than this. So this is probably the best it's going to get. But yeah, it's I don't know what to think about this figure. Like I said before, it's undeniable that it looks cool, but literally everything else is against it. It sure has a great range of motion, but that doesn't mean anything if it can't hold parts or anything fits in correctly. It's just a pain. Like, I genuinely did not have any fun playing with this figure at all. And it's such a shame because it looks so good. It could have been so good. But it's just not, this is not good in any way. It's such a shame. And like, the Figma Bakugo was also terrible, but for different reasons. But this one, it's a shame because it could have been good. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about this thing. It's just not a good figure. It looks good, but that's it. So yeah, if you enjoyed that video and want to see more stuff like that, let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, I probably won't be looking at more Amazing Yamaguchi unless I'm assured that they get a lot better. But otherwise, I'll see you all next time.